Alright guys, welcome to episode 2. We got plenty of music to talk about today. Let's get started.
You won't find the beat until you lose yourself in it. That's why we won't back down, we won't run and hide. Yeah, 'cause these are the things that we can't deny. I'm passing over you like a satellite.
Okay, first I want to talk about Rise Against's newest album, Endgame. Now, overall the album is good. It's actually very good, but it's not great. Their last two albums, The Sufferer and The Witness and Appeal to Reason, were like really fantastic albums because there was a lot going on, it was a massive maturation for the band, so I thought that their last two albums were much better. This new album, Endgame, it's more of the same. So musically, it's nothing that we haven't heard before, and it's just, it's more of the same. Lyrically, however, Rise Against never sells its short when it comes to lyrics, and, there are some great songs on the album. Satellite and Architects are great songs, so I would say that fans of the last two Rise Against albums would very much so enjoy their newest release, Endgame.
Must talk in every telephone, get eaten off the web. Must rip out all the epilogues from the books that we have read into the face.
Alright, so next up we have an album that came out quite a couple of years ago now, probably 6 or 7 years ago. It's an album by Bright Eyes called I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning. This album really put them, as far as I'm concerned, put them really in the big leagues as far as indie rock goes. If you've never heard Bright Eyes' music before, it's basically, for the most part, it is kind of a one-man show of their lead singer Connor Oberst, but I think he's an absolute genius. There are other people that, provide music for the band, but he writes all the lyrics, he writes all the music, so it's more or less his show, but, he does it so well. His lyrics are probably about the most mature lyrics that you're going to hear out of any songwriter from this generation. And, you could definitely tell that a lot of their music is raw and powerful, and he definitely is singing from the heart. It's just a brilliant thing. And, any indie rock fan would check out this album. But I'm going to warn you right now, there's a lot of, there's some folk music on the album, and the whole folk aspect people might not care for, but at the same time there's more traditional indie rock sound that people will adhere to a little bit more, I think.
Hanging on the corner, 152nd and Broadway. The cars passing by, but none of them seem to go my way. In New York City, I wish I was on the highway.
Alright guys, so in my first segment that I talk about an album here that I haven't yet talked about on my blog, I'm going to talk about an album that I believe is very instrumental in the early 90s punk revival movement, fueled by bands like Green Day and NoFX. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite punk albums in general. It's called Out Came the Wolves. It's by Rancid. It's some real great stuff. You've probably heard some of their songs off the album, like Time Bomb or Ruby Soho. To me, I think it's simplistic genius. All the songs are exactly what punk music should be. Short, sweet, to the point. And what I thought was interesting about the album was that, in my opinion, you could sing to a lot of the songs because they have like a great gang-like vocal going on, and, any fan of the early 90s punk music movement, with Sublime and Green Day and all those guys will easily enjoy this. Alright, today's showdown is between two classic Smashing Pumpkins albums, Gish and Siamese Dream. Now, both are iconic, and both are highly instrumental in the early 90s hard rock grunge movements. However, which one is better? Is it their impressive underground classic debut of Gish, or the mainstream phenomena that is Siamese Dream that is still talked about, still to this day? Gish is the Smashing Pumpkins' debut album, and for years I think it's been overshadowed and definitely overlooked, but because of the success of their Siamese Dream album. However, I'd say that Gish definitely has its high points, because Gish is a lot heavier, and it features what I think is a lot of great music. Definitely more solos by both Billy Corgan and Jimmy Chamberlin on drums. You know, the drum performance on the album is ridiculous, and the guitar solos are much more plenty than the ones that are on Siamese Dream. So that's definitely a plus. And, however, the lyrics are a little different than the lyrics on Siamese Dream. I would say that they're a little more cryptic and not as easy to understand. However, you know, it is heavier, it is more raw, so a lot of people do like Gish better. Now, Siamese Dream, it was much more of a success. You know, it spawned plenty of hit singles, and it is still talked about, still to this day. Musically, it's more mature than Gish, and, you know, it doesn't have the solos that Gish has, but it does have a few, especially on Geek USA, in which the dueling drum guitar solos are just absolutely mind-blowing. However, the real centerpiece of the album is Billy Corgan's lyrics. You know, lyrically, Siamese Dream, there is no other, in my opinion. You know, he wrote lyrics, Billy Corgan wrote lyrics on Siamese Dream for a nation of teenagers, and everybody understood those lyrics at some point in their life. So I'd say that lyrically, Siamese Dream is an absolute masterpiece, and, you know, that's probably the high point of the album. Overall, I would say Siamese Dream is a better album. You know, it doesn't have that raw energy of Gish, but, you know, Siamese Dream is heavy in its own right, and, you know, Billy Corgan on Siamese Dream simply spoke to a nation, and that's just, that's unbeatable right there, you know, and the music backed it up. It wasn't anything too fancy, but at the same time, it was genius. Alright guys, you know, that's it for this episode, but I'll be back this week sometime, so stay tuned.